Hello and welcome to the Certified Ethical Hacker Study Guide. In this video, we will discuss Chapter 10.1, Hacking Web Servers. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Now let's bounce into the first topic, after this short break. The Internet has revolutionized commerce and communications. Providing and buying goods and services online is referred to as e-commerce. The lockdowns caused by the COVID-19 pandemic accelerated e-commerce as businesses and consumers went digital. E-commerce's share of global retail trade increased from 14% in 2019 to approximately 17% in 2020. Business communications were also affected by COVID-19 as the amount of remote working and remote conferencing increased dramatically. E-commerce and remote working both require web servers. As the number of web servers and their use increased, so did the hacking of these web servers. E-commerce and remote working solutions also use web applications and web services. Creating web applications involves using web development platforms such as Microsoft Active Server Pages, ASP and ASP.NET, and Java Server Pages, JSP. Normally, a web application is supported by a web server that runs on a general-purpose or embedded OS. Each component, application, server, and OS, has its own set of vulnerabilities, but combining these components increases the risk of a web application compromise affecting a network's overall security. Skilled hackers can often exploit a minor vulnerability in one function, such as a webmail application, and use it as a stepping stone to launch additional attacks against the OS. With the growth in available platforms and e-commerce websites, security vulnerabilities have proliferated. Statistically, the majority of cyber attacks focus on web servers, web applications, and their database infrastructure. This module gives you an overview of web applications, explains the vulnerabilities of many web components, and describes the tools used to hack web servers. Now let's dance into the next topic, after this short break. As you have learned, writing a program without bugs is difficult. The bigger the program, the more bugs or defects are possible, and some defects create security vulnerabilities. The more people who have access to a program, the bigger the risk of security vulnerabilities. The following sections describe web application components and platforms for developing web applications. Now let's crash on into the next topic, right after this short break. Web application components. HTML is still the foundation of most web applications and is commonly used for creating static web pages. HTML5 is the latest release in the HTML family. Static web pages display the same information regardless of the time of day or the user who accesses the page. Dynamic web pages can vary the information that's displayed, depending on variables such as current time and date, username and purchasing history, information collected with cookies or web bugs. For web pages to be dynamic, their code must consist of more than just the basic HTML tags such as "and." These pages need special components for displaying information that changes depending on user input or information from a back-end server. To do this, dynamic web pages use a variety of tools including the element, asynchronous JavaScript and XML, AJAX, Common Gateway Interface, CGI, Active Server Pages, ASP.NET, Java Server Pages, JSP, Hypertext Preprocessor, PHP, Cold Fusion, CF, JavaScript, JS, and database connector strings such as Open Database Connector, ODBC. These components are covered in the following sections. Now, let's drop into the next topic, after this short break. Web forms. The element is used in an HTML document to allow customers to submit information to the web server. You have probably filled out a form when purchasing a product online or registering for an email newsletter, for example. Some forms can be quite long and ask for a lot of information, and some have only a couple of input fields, such as username and password. A web server uses a web application to process information from a form. The following HTML code shows the syntax for a simple form. Now let's punch our way into the next topic, after this short break. Common Gateway Interface. Another standard that handles moving data from a web server to a web browser is Common Gateway Interface, or CGI, which enables web designers to create dynamic HTML web applications. Many dynamic web pages are created with CGI and scripting languages. CGI is the interface that determines how a web server passes data to a web browser. It relies on Perl or another scripting or programming language to create dynamic web pages, which is different from active server pages covered in a later section. CGI's main role is passing data between a web server and web browser. In fact, the term gateway describes this movement of data between the web server and web browser. CGI programs can be written in many programming and scripting languages, such as C/C++, Perl, Unix shells, Visual Basic, and Java. Programming languages such as C and C++ require compiling the program before running it. If CGI is implemented with a scripting language, compiling isn't necessary. The following CGI program displays "Hello Security Testers" in the user's browser. To check whether the CGI program works, save the program to the CEGI bin directory of your web server, and then enter the URL in your web browser, using the format. Substitute the name of your server and the correct path to the CEGI bin directory. Now, let's fly into the next topic. After this short break, Spring, JSF, AngularJS, Yeoman, Sass, and Vaadin are just a few of the hundreds of frameworks designed to make programming easier. Frameworks are typically called on for a specific purpose. For example, the strength of the Spring framework is connecting components, while the Sass framework helps you style your website to enhance user experience. Using libraries saves developers time and means less documentation is required for complex routines of custom code. As third-party libraries grow in popularity, keeping them current and secure becomes more important. Active server pages, ASP and ASP.NET, are two other technologies that developers can use to display HTML documents to users on the fly. The original ASP was introduced by Microsoft in 1998 as a server-side interpreted scripting language and is often referred to as Classic ASP. Classic ASP is considered to be a dead language and is no longer used by the mainstream development community. Classic ASP has been succeeded by ASP.NET, which uses a compiled server-side language, such as C#, and the .NET framework. You use ASP and ASP.NET to create dynamic web pages. That is, when a user requests a web page, one is created at that time. ASP enabled developers to build dynamic, interactive web pages using scripting languages such as JScript, Microsoft's version of JavaScript, or VBScript. Developers can also use ASP.NET to create dynamic, interactive web pages, but as mentioned earlier, it is compiled and commonly written in C#. Not all web servers support ASP or ASP.NET, so if you want to develop web pages with either one, the server you're using must support this technology. Internet Information Services, IIS 4.0, and later support ASP, and iOS 5.0, and later support ASP.NET. Keep in mind that the web server, not the web browser, must support ASP. If you find this video useful, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. To see more videos like this, please click in the rectangle in the middle of your screen. To see other videos from this channel, please click the circle on the bottom right. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.